Now that we're here, you're just going to leave? You're such a good husband. It was Sicily. She never knew when to shut up. She was so annoyed because Patricia had come to her in the middle of the night and insisted that they go take care of Celia. But Chase after everything was a powder keg. What did you say? He stopped walking and rounded on her. Sicily felt the chill in Chase's voice, and she couldn't help but feel scared. Looking at him, she felt his eyes boring into her like daggers. She was used to bullying him. None of the Samsons had ever seen Chase like this before. Sicily took half a step back. Hey, don't look at me like that. Chase still looked murderous. Let me ask you again. What did you say? Quentin, standing beside Sicily, naturally stood up when he saw his fiancée being intimidated. Hey, you. Be polite when you speak to her. Sicily was scared, but with Quentin's support, her tone became stubborn. Am I wrong? That's my sister we're talking about. We just arrived and you're leaving. That's incredibly irresponsible. Did you forget about our missing daughter? Chase demanded of her. Don't you think I need to look for her? That's a you problem, Sicily said. If you're so useless that you let your daughter go missing. Without thinking, Chase lunged forward, meaning to get in her face. Sicily froze in shock. Quentin jumped in between them and caught Chase's shoulders. Tears welled up in Sicily's eyes as she said, You were about to hit me. Quentin tightened his grip. What do you think you're doing? You're out of control. I'm warning you. I've had enough of this family's entire abuse. Celia got into trouble trying to help her daughter if it wasn't for me. I don't even want to think about what would have happened. Patricia's frustration exploded. Mr. Rothman, you can't talk to my daughter like that. I promised you that I would take care of Celia and Dottie for you, and if that means protecting them from you, I'll do it. If you threaten my family again, I'll personally make sure you never see yours again. Chase wanted to slap everyone in the Samson family. However, thinking about Patricia's threat, he didn't want to make a bad situation worse. He relaxed his arm and finally said, Sicily, I'll remember what you said. That goes for all of you. After saying that, he shook off Quentin's hand and walked out of the door without looking back. Chase was incredibly angry. He always felt that Celia's family was too set in their opinions. It would be too difficult for such people to change their minds about him. He'd already thought it through. Other than Celia, there was no need to give anybody in the Samson family any time or attention. In the future, these people could say whenever they wanted. He wouldn't pay them any mind. Chase and Dottie weren't part of the Samson family. How dare Patricia act like a big bad wolf in front of him? Leaving the ward alone, Chase calmed himself down. The most important thing now was finding his daughter. After leaving the ward, he called Tim and asked him about his search. Tim said that he was using all of his manpower, but there was no news. Even though Chase was anxious, he still calmed down to think clearly about the situation. He walked around the hospital for about an hour, and during this time, he found some nurses who hadn't known anything was wrong. However, they couldn't find the nurse who had been in charge of Dottie, nor could anyone get through to the nurse's phone. Nobody knew what had happened. However, Chase remembered one thing clearly. When he returned to the hospital, the bed was still warm, which meant Dottie hadn't been gone long when they got there. But that had been well over an hour ago. The other nurses asked around. There had to have been people who seen her. Waiting in the hall, Chase wished he could light up a cigarette. He sat silently observing his surroundings. All of a sudden, he saw a 360-degree security camera on the ceiling, which piqued his interest. This was the first floor of the hospital, but there should be security cameras on every floor. Thinking of this, Chase thought hard and remembered there were cameras on the third floor. Furthermore, he was pretty sure one camera was directly facing the door of Dottie's room. He breathed a prayer of thanks. This kind of surveillance footage could be kept for 24 hours. It wouldn't take someone long to rewind to the correct time. Thinking of this, he rushed toward the security department on the first floor. It was easy to find, on the lower right-hand corner of the impatient department building, next to the main lobby. Delighted, Chase immediately rushed into the office. However, in his haste, he forgot to knock on the door. As he entered the room, he was stopped by a security guard. "What the heck? You can't just barge in here." Chase tried to think clearly. He did not want to start yet another fight with yet another security guard, not when so much was at stake. He didn't force his way in and politely said, "Excuse me, sir. Can I take a look at your surveillance footage?" The guard looked at him up and down with his beady eyes. He thought Chase was familiar but couldn't place him, so he asked, "Do I know you?" "I'm the father of a patient here," Chase explained to him patiently. "My daughter has gone missing. Surely somebody told you. We've been looking all over." The security guard nodded. "Oh, you're the guy they're talking about. I sent the footage to my boss, but it's almost midnight and he's off duty. I'm not allowed to release that footage." "Okay, I get it." Chase was very sincere despite his frustration. "Ask anybody. I'm here all the time. They know me. I'm just really worried that my daughter has been kidnapped or something." "I told you." The security guard looked annoyed. "Our footage is confidential. It's not something anyone can just watch because they want to. I can call my manager if you want." Chase said, "Come on, man. My daughter is missing. You should be calling the police." "They're already on it." The security guard was getting impatient. "If you make a scene, then they'll detain you for causing a disturbance. Please don't force me to make that call." Chase was impatient, but there was nothing he could do. At least this man was a bit more understanding than most of the other security guards he had encountered that day. He really didn't like being forced to wait, but sometimes there was nothing else to do. Stepping outside the security room, Chase took out his cell phone and dialed Roland. At this moment, Chuck finally appeared. Where the hell had he been? Chuck walked over to Chase, who was standing in the security room's open doorway. He quickly asked, "Mr. Rothman, looks like we had the same idea. Did you see the surveillance footage?" Chase shook his head and said,
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.